Hi everyone, we're here to create a new template for a long format project, something like a novel or a book, something of that sort. First thing we're going to do is start a new document, and to do that we'll go to File, New Document. This template is going to serve as the foundation for all the chapters in our book. I'm just going to go with a custom print size. You go with inches, 11. The height is going to be 8.5, and sorry, the width is half of that. It's 5.5 per page. We're only going to need 2 pages, one for the chapter divider and one to set up as a starting point for all our content. So 2 pages there. We don't need the facing pages. Start at number 1. We'll add a primary text frame. Yes or no? I'm not sure. Let's see. Should we? Let's add it. You never know. We could delete it at any time. We only want one column. Margins. These are a bit different than they would be for a standard print job. Basically, we are going to customize these margins anyway once we create the document setup. So for now, let's just keep them at 0.5 inches. Bleed and slug. Well, the bleed, as always, is going to be 0.125, and there's no need for a slug on this particular layout. If we click on preview to get a sneak peek at this document, just to make sure everything looks good, we should see something like this, which is a typical page of a novel. So let's click on create, and we're somewhat set up. Here we go, loading up. Now, as I was mentioning, we're going to need to redefine the margins here, and we'll probably be better off doing that in the master pages of our document. So let me just clean up some of the palettes here. All right, so in our pages, we should now see page 1, page 2. We have our master over here where there are no settings, and we're also going to add an additional master following this. So let's start with our chapter divider page. Double click a master, make sure it's the one loaded in our screen here. And what we're going to do here is define the areas of our chapter divider. So what is a chapter divider? It's basically a page that serves as the starting point, for example, or a separator between many chapters in a book. And it could contain any number of features. It could just say chapter X for whatever number it is. It could have a graphic, it could be a visual, it could be all sorts of fun, cool things. The point is, be as creative as you like, and of course, as long as it's appropriate to the content matter, go for it. I'm going to start with some basic things. For example, I want my chapter divider to serve as a new section in my book. And the reason why I want to save it as a new section is I can automate some of the things. To do that, I will define certain areas, but first let's just make some basic designs here. I'll insert a rectangle here, for example. Let's center it. Give it a nice color. I'll insert a text frame. Oh, and remember, there's probably already a text frame in here because we chose that when we created the document. So this we might want to delete just in case and create a new custom text over here. There we go. So thanks to my smart guides, you can see that as I position this, it shows that it's centered, which is a great help. Click some text here. I'm going to call this chapter. Right, and obviously because this is black on black, it doesn't show, so I'm just going to move this down for now while I take care of this. Chapter 1, for example. Now this number I want to be automated, so every time I change my numbering and page options in the general settings, I want this number to reflect what chapter I'm currently on. So instead of a number here, I'm going to change this to an automated mechanism. So in my type, I'll go to Insert Special Character, a marker, and this is going to mark a section. So I'm going to include a section marker. Boom. Now this says section. Don't worry about the fonts. Don't worry about the typography. We're going to import a whole bunch of styles already to keep this thing looking good, or we might even create some on our own. Okay, next. Seeing as this is a chapter divider, we don't really need to insert a page number, but we can insert other placeholders. So I'm just going to put this back here. I might want to insert image placeholder. So just drag one out there. And I could just drop an image at any point. And you could include any number of things. For example, another little text box over here that contains just a placeholder for some text that you can use as just a little intro to the chapter, for example. So these are all placeholders. We just want to create the overall look and feel of this page before we commit to anything else. I'm going to go ahead and save my document. I'm just going to save as. I'm going to save this as a template file. So make sure you select InDesign template, so INDT format. The reason being, every time I need a new chapter, I'll double click this and it'll open everything ready for me to go. All I have to do is import my text. So I'm going to save this as chapter template INDT. And to avoid problems with importing into older or newer versions of Adobe InDesign, you might want to choose to save this file as an IDML. But for now, I'm going to save it as a template just to make sure. So let's save that. And I'm going to pause it here while we come back for part 2, where we start adding additional pages and importing styles.